Hi, my name is Nathalie. I live in Tiene in Belgium. I am 49 years old. I would like to tell you something on how this pandemic has interrupted my daily life and especially my mental health care. I work as a peer expert, an expert by experience in a psychiatric hospital. When the lockdown in our country started, we had a complete lockdown quite suddenly. I had to stop working immediately, which was very disrupting to me because I was working very hard, many hours in the hospital and talking to the volunteers I work with, supporting them, coaching them. But when the lockdown happened, all of a sudden I was at home. I felt rather scared. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't understand everything about the pandemic. How bad is this? Will people start falling down in the streets? I felt like in a science fiction movie. So I was quite scared in the beginning. The first weeks I was like a bit paralyzed, only watching the news from the morning till night on all the different television stations and really worrying about what is this, what is going to happen to me, to my children, to my loved ones, to my colleagues, where is the world going? So I was quite scared. When my daughter joined me after a few weeks, that became better. I became more relaxed. However, it turned out I fell into a depression and the burnout from working too much, depression from being too scared about the pandemic, but also, of course, because I have mental health issues. My diagnoses are borderline personality disorder and also bipolar disorder. I have been stable for years. I've been able to work, help other people with my experiences. But now, because of the pandemic and staying at home, altogether, it was too much for me. And I started to have severe mental health problems again. Seeking help was not easy. In the beginning, I was afraid to seek help. I didn't want to go to a hospital or be in a waiting room at a doctor's office because I was afraid to get infected or to infect my loved ones. So it took me a few months even before I started to realize this is not going good. I'm not going to recover all by myself. I need more help. But then the only person I could turn to was my general practitioner. Because I had been stable for so long time, I didn't have any regular health workers beside me anymore. I didn't go to the psychologist or the psychiatric hospital, nothing, because I was stable enough. So because I didn't have those connections anymore, and because of the pandemic, which caused a lot of mental health problems, I was really unable to get the help I needed. There were waiting lists. Normally in our country, when you have a problem and you want to see a psychiatrist, in the worst case, you have to wait a week. Now I could only get an appointment 2 months later. I mean, this was so very difficult for me. So it was mostly my general practitioner who helped me through. And after a while, I could also talk to a psychologist online. So not in person, but at home, using Zoom, only digitally. She also introduced me to a mobile app, which helped me to register my moods and my mood swings that I felt. So that was easy for after when I did finally see a psychiatrist to help evaluate what was going on. Was I high? Sometimes I was high in my moods. I was like hypomanic. Other times I was more depressed. And I could explain everything very well to him thanks to that app. I did turn to digital tools like the mobile app, like the Zoom calls. But I must confess that the Zoom calls with the psychologists, it's not easy. You can talk about general things like how are you feeling today, but to me it's also important with all my past and with the therapy I already had in the past, which was like a psychoanalytic. I really want to talk about my deeper emotions, about my fears and everything. And for me, using the video call was a bit of an inhibition. I couldn't be as open and as frank. I do suppose this was also because I didn't know the psychologist before. I had never met her in person. So the first talk was immediately through video call. And to make that report, to make that connection with the therapist, I found quite difficult. So my ideal situation after COVID-19, and let's hope that is very soon, it would be that I could have a mix of those things. I didn't know the app before. I never used video call before, and it has advantages, especially when I'm too depressed to go outside, take a train or bus and get ready and everything. I can just stay in my pajamas and talk to my therapist without having to move. So that was an advantage, and I would like to be able to keep that in the future, but with a mix of personal contacts and a mix of video contact when it's okay, when the most important thing is to check on how is today, is there any side effects on medication, things like that. But for the deeper therapeutic sessions, I still prefer to be in personal contact with my therapist. Also, the mobile app for me is something, a good discovery, something that can help me day to day to keep track of how I feel. So that is also something new that I learned and that I would like to keep in the future, and would be nice if more people, I think, would get to use this.